were there any challenges to filming that scene?
This thing on the day that was pretty challenging. I mean, we had 6 hours to actually try to get everything done. So the room was pretty hot. It was about 30 degrees or something. It was really warm. The kid was pretty much in bed all day, so he was getting a bit crazy. So we had 6 hours to get about 40 shots, which are all in this kind of storyboard that I made a few days before. And we actually were a very limited crew as well. I was with Jack, who was filming, and it was difficult in the way that I had to direct that and also to sound record. So I really had to have 100% trust into Jack to make the shot looking alright. And I mean, we had the camera which was trying to overheat as well. So actually, it just wouldn't film anymore. So I had to actually take it downstairs and put it in the fridge for about 10 minutes or so for it to cool down, and then to be able to film again. And then we had to have lunch as well, and then we had to record the voiceover in the very end, which took us about half an hour. It was very, very tight for this. And it was pretty stressful overall. It's probably one of the most stressful days in my life, really.
So on the shoot with Max, what sort of equipment were you using? Sort of what lighting stuff, sound stuff were you using, and is it all stuff you'd used before, or was some of it new?
Lighting wise, we actually used for the exterior, we used an HMI, which is actually, I think it was a light that attached to a church building. So it's quite unusual. To diffuse it, we literally put a plastic carrier bag around it, and it worked better than some of the gels I've ever used. For some of the other bits, just breaking apart the scenes, getting a bit of light in the background, we used these camping LEDs. We didn't have any gels, so the light was a bit harsh, but it actually didn't make a difference because it's moonlight. So it worked quite well. For the bedroom, we actually used regular lighting, mostly with a lamp by the bed. And we had the LED lights and a blue, I think a fluorescent tube, which is emitting a blue light as the moonlight. We filmed during the day, so we had to completely block out the window. Camera-wise, it was all 7D, and because me and Max had the same equipment, we could work quite well together because we knew the settings, we knew how to film it. Lenses, typically I think were just the 35 and the 50. I think there might have been, I can't remember what the wide, I think the wide was maybe a 14 or a 17. But equipment wise, we were very limited with the size of the room. We managed to use a slider, which I own, but it's quite a cheap slider, and just for the exteriors alone, where we mainly use the sliders, we actually stayed a couple of days before the shoot, and it took us probably about 5 hours to do 10 seconds worth of footage of empty rooms. But that's just working with the slider, trying to keep it smooth, trying to get the right the movement at the same speed. I think it works quite well in the end product, but obviously these kind of issues when you're working on a set where time's money, you can't really do.
What made you decide to take on an extra person for the shoot rather than just doing it all yourself?
That would have been impossible. It was already very difficult to do it just both of us with Jack. But I actually wish we had probably an extra 2 persons, sound recordists maybe would have been great, and also someone for the continuity of the shot, because sometimes it's very difficult to have just make sure that every little detail was right in between shots.
So how did you record the sound if you were both sort of with the cameras?
Well, the sound was recorded with the external recorder with the H4, actually the one we recording the interview today, this one, and the boom pole was actually recording in it, and the pole was actually hanged to a belt which was attached to basically the light of the room, and it was kind of a funny setup. We tried loads of different things, and eventually that ended up being the setup which worked the best. So it was a bit funny, but it did work in the end.
Is it like anything you've done before, or was it something quite different?
Oh, that was completely new. I mean, I've never really shot a proper dialogue scene, and I think tried to make everything working together, and the acting as well, because obviously the acting wasn't all the time perfect, so then you had to kind of tell the actor what to do as well.
It probably feels very empty if there's no dialogue in there. What do you guys think? Does it not look a bit artificial if there's no dialogue in there? It feels very quiet.
Do you think would Michael say, "What's that"?
Yeah. That's
Something like that. So
what's that, Mom? What is it?
that?
Yeah. What is
You
it,
keep
Mom?
looking at me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What would you say? What would you say, Michael? What would you say when your mom is? What?
Mum, what's that?
Yeah. Okay. And what would you answer?
It's a very old book. It's a very old storybook.
No.
It's a very
Yeah.
old book.
People can see this whole, but we don't want to say it because that's the
That's gonna give it
unexpected.
away.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Ask the
It's,
question again, Michael.
What's that, Mum?
It's a very special story.
Yeah, that's great. Special story will work very well.
That's the only issue.
And so it was definitely not easy to try to focus on the acting, on the sound, trying to to make sure that Jack actually had the right shots as well. Even though I trusted him perfectly, sometimes it was slightly out of focus, and we had to just do it again. So it was kind of difficult to make the thing working all together. But I think it's looking pretty good in the end for the budget we had as well, and the amount of time available. It's looking all right, I suppose.
Did you get sponsorship for the film, or did you fund it yourself?
No, I did fund it myself. I got pretty lucky. There's this Scottish company who bought some of my previous footage, and then I could afford going to Norway pretty much for free. So that was great for that. And then there's a German TV who actually bought some of the other footage that I filmed earlier in the year, and that helped me to actually fund this day of shoot. So I could fund the whole thing like that, which was great. The budget is about £1,500 really overall, so it's not too bad. I mean, for the work which has been done, it's